Granblue Fantasy Relink is a game that requires a lot of grinding to be able to max out all of the characters that you might want to play. I know Grind Blue refers to the old game, but it kind of gets to the point where you're going to be fighting the same bosses hundreds of times by the end of the game. So today I want to teach you a strategy that's effective to AFK farm every single thing in the game. Now with that said, I'm making this video right before Lucilius comes out, and I can't really AFK farm him yet, but if I find a way to do it, which I'm sure we will, I will let you guys know with another video. But for now, let's get into the meat of it. So why would you need to AFK anything? Well, if you're like me and you grew up playing RuneScape, there's tons of reasons that you would want to have the game running in the background while you do other things. Maybe you're a whole ass adult and you have like a real job that you need to do. But what this effectively lets you do is run the game while you're doing other things, taking care of other tasks, and still grind out some of the things that you might need to progress your game. Similarly to how you got 99 woodcutting back in the day. For some people, it might suck the fun out of the game to progress without actually playing it, and you don't have to play it like this at all. But there are going to be people that don't have the time to dedicate to this game every single day, but still want to progress, and those are the folks this video is for. So let's talk about AFKing missions. If you've seen any videos on AFKing missions, you would know that what you can do is go straight to your game options, hit gameplay, go over to assist mode, and turn on full assist mode. This is the easiest way to AFK in the game, but the huge problem with this is that you can't actually use this on Maniac mode and above. Maniac mode and above is where you're going to get the bulk of the resources that you need for end game character building, and if you can't AFK that, then there's honestly not a ton of reason to AFK unless you're just farming for crystals. So the point of this video is to tell you how you can AFK Maniac and Proud missions. These missions can range from the simple Maniac ones all the way up to even Proto Bahamut. It's going to help you farm all of those silver centrums that you need. It's going to help you farm all of those materials you need for certain sigil upgrades and more. So how do you actually do it? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is build your AFK character. For me, this is actually Vazaraga. I decided that I wanted this guy to be a tank because he's got lots of HP, and honestly, I don't play him a ton. Once you have your Giga Chad over in your main slot, you're going to want to make sure that they are properly geared. What does an AFK build look like? Well, you're basically just going to want to stack as much HP as you can, some auto revive, and some guts. Great Scythe Grenade has HP and Garrison on it by default. I don't have any weapon abuse at all on this thing, so I chose to level this up to 150 for him, and then you can give your character some HP, some Aegis, some Steel Nerves, some Garrison, and some auto revive and guts. And as you can see, Aegis is almost maxed out, so we get plus 78% HP. Garrison, so we get some defense bonus. HP is just, plus 9k. Aegis is going to be better, but because I have the extra slots, I give it to HP. And then I have guts maxed out, and I have auto revive maxed out. And I actually have more guts than I even need. But the reason you max these out is because your character is basically just going to be standing there, not dodging, not doing anything on Maniac and Proud difficulty. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that your AFK character can actually take all of that damage and not cause your team to wipe. Now, between guts activating once every 2 minutes and auto revive activating once every 2 minutes, you shouldn't have many issues. Now, one other thing you could do instead of HP is you can go ahead and equip regen, and that's also going to be fine. Regen will give you some HP back over time, and once you get it maxed out, it's 5% per tick. But the thing is that takes effectively 20 ticks to go from 1% to max, even at max regen. So regen itself isn't insanely good. It can be helpful for getting your HP up over time if you don't happen to be targeted. However, it's not going to be a game changer, and you don't have to run it. The other thing you can do is go with low profile, and that's basically going to make it so bosses target you less. But the problem with this one is that bosses will sometimes just shoot a bunch of AoEs all over the ground, and that's not going to help you a ton. So in my opinion, it's best to go with HP here instead, and then just go with Aegis, Steel Nerves, Garrison, etc., because these are going to all reduce the damage that you take and increase your defense, and that's going to be massive. This character's not going to do any skills. They're not going to heal themselves. They're just going to stand there and be a ragdoll while the rest of your team takes out the enemy. Meanwhile, your party is going to consist of 3 of your most built characters. Now, I actually was experimenting with Narmaya. She's not actually my 3rd most built character at all, but there's a few AI companions that perform better than other ones, so I wanted to give Narmaya a try. Typically, when you're choosing your computer or AI companions to actually run with you, you'll want to pick characters that have more range capabilities. This is mostly because some bosses tend to, fly away or be out of range or move back, and this helps your computers basically deal more damage because computers already barely attack, and if a boss runs away, then they kind of waste a lot of that time they could be attacking. So range characters end up being pretty consistently good. And this could be characters like Eugen, Rackham, even Cagliostro, and other characters that can have range attacks are very, very good. One character that does not rank super high or super consistently is actually Io. Io does have ranged abilities, but just due to how long she can take to attack sometimes, she doesn't end up being the best AI companion, but she's not bad at all. Now, I probably will put out a tier list video on the best AI companions soon, but just know that range characters are a little bit more consistent. And Eugen is actually one of the best characters for AI. Not AI art. I do not I don't recommend that. Another character that's also good for AI is actually Zeta. Now mine isn't fully built, so I haven't really used her a ton, but she ends up being pretty good just because a lot of her damage comes from her normal attacks. And the AI does use the good normal attacks for Zeta, so that's worth mentioning. Catalina isn't the best for AI, but I do use her a lot just because she is very built on my account. And those are the main things. If you want some gearing ideas for these characters, you can give them things to keep them alive, but the AI tend to dodge pretty well, so you don't have to worry about it a ton. Life on the Line is great because they dodge so much damage, and because you don't typically want to run a ton of healing abilities on your allies anyways. War Elemental is basically a staple just for damage. And you can also run things like Nimble Onslaught on your AI just because they get so many perfect dodges, which will give them some more SBA gauge and some skill cooldown reduction. And then also Glass Cannon ends up being pretty good because they dodge so much, so you can end up getting a lot more damage out of your AI. I also prefer to put some stun skills on my AI. Some people don't really recommend this because certain AI will be better or worse about it, but Lancelot's freeze, Catalina's freeze, and Zeta's paralysis can all be very useful. Now, a couple things we need to make sure that we do before we go in is go to our settings, and I know I already talked about full assist mode, but there's some other settings that you do need to turn on. First off, go to gameplay, go down to the bottom, and you're gonna wanna make sure that loading screen skip is on. You want auto skip on, and then quest cutscene auto skip also on. Both of these are very important to make sure that you can get through this auto farming as quickly as possible. And if you don't have loading screen skip on, then you're gonna have to press A between every mission, and that kind of sucks. The other thing you can do is go and save and return to the title screen. And at the title screen, if your PC is constantly overworked, or if you're gonna play another game while you do this, or if you just want this to be less obtrusive, you can go to your game settings, turn down your resolution, you can turn down your frame rate, you can turn down your graphic settings, and you can turn this to windowed so you can move it around. And by doing this, you're gonna take a huge load off of your computer, and it'll make it so that, you know, if you want to play Minecraft or something, or if you're just playing a different game, or if you're not really paying attention, it's not going to suck the soul out of your computer. The last setting that you need to make sure that you absolutely turn on is go ahead and press the back button or whatever the button is to emote, and then go ahead and switch your crew SBA mode to auto. You want to make sure that your crew is SBAing on their own because you are not playing the game. You are gone. You are on vacation. Then you kind of just let your team do their thing. This is IC Chromatic Vision. It is absolutely hell to play through, but your AI can infinitely dodge, so you don't really have to worry about them. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, how do I get all those silver centrums, though? Well, the silver centrums can drop from most missions in Maniac and Proud difficulty, so you can just farm any of those, but I actually have a couple missions that I prefer. As you can see, if you go to the shop, there's a ton of things that you can trade for silver centrums, but a lot of these things that you trade, you don't actually get from the same missions, and you have to AFK a few different missions to actually save up. I personally like to do one mission that gives me all of the items for this one, so that I can trade them in for silver centrums. Because when you're awakening all the weapons like I am, you run out very, very fast. If you need some easier missions to start off with, I recommend going with the one for 2 rock golems. This is called Boss Done Once It Did. And this one's a pretty low level one that can give you silver centrums as a drop, as well as large fortitude crystals and some of the items you need to trade in. To complement this one, you will also need to farm goblin warriors though, and you cannot do Revenge of the Hordes AFK because this one requires you to move forward in order to activate the boss fight. So to complement the rock golem one, what you'll need to do is actually do for a Freer Folka, which includes 2 griffins and a goblin boss, and this can also give you silver centrum. The most consistent one that I like to run is IC Chromatic Vision, which is going to have 3 different dial bosses that are going to drop all of these Land Beast, Frost Beast, and Flame Beast horns all at once and have a chance to farm a silver centrum. Usually you can beat this in about 5 minutes, and you can actually do it even faster if you have higher invested units than I do. And because you're getting the Land Beast, Frost Beast, and Flame Beast horns, as well as silver centrum drops from them, you can see 12 to 20 silver centrum per hour. It could depend on your kill time or just how lucky you get. While you're doing this, you're also getting curios, which will help you farm some 6 sigils and also just increase your drops in general. I'm not going to claim that this is the best mission for it, but it is a very nice and convenient one. And specifically considering that you are AFK, that you don't have to pay any attention to the game, this is a pretty damn good mission to farm. So just to give you guys an example, I'm loading up for a Freer Folka. I have my hands on the controller, but I'm not really doing anything. This is a Proud mission with 2 griffins and a goblin warrior. And as you can see, I can just sit here AFK while my AI companions go to work on this dude. Azaraga has 63k HP. I know, super flattering angle, super fun. And let's see how long this takes. As you can see, this is why we build a bunch of HP, because over time, you just end up taking a bunch of hits. And I do have the regen on him because I forgot to take that off before we went in here. But some boss mechanics are just 100% unavoidable. But if you look at the top left, you can see I still have guts and auto revive up. So I'm basically going to hit 1 HP before I die. And then auto revive is going to pick me up so my teammates don't actually have to come get me. And it minimizes the amount of time I'm on the ground. Taking more damage. I'm probably going to take even more damage. And I'm still not dead because I have so much HP and defense. All right, I'm almost dead, but I'm still not there. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to sustain yourself. You just make a character super beefy. And then my guts just activated. And so if I take more damage, then auto revival activate. It's basically insurance. All right, and there you go. So that took me just over 6-ish minutes. It was 6.5 minutes-ish to be able to beat that proud level mission with 3 bosses. Now, honestly, this time can be massively improved upon. For example, if I had Eugen out, he would probably do a lot more damage. And ranged characters are better for this mission because you have 2 griffins and a goblin, but there you go. And also, as you can see, you don't even need to open these chests at the end. They'll open themselves. You'll get all the loot. It's fantastic. Now, the incredibly important thing that you need to do is make sure that you clear it once on your own, or just watch this screen on your own after the first one, because in order to actually AFK and loop the AFK mission, what you need to do is move on to this next screen, hit repeat quest, and when you hit repeat quest, it'll lock you in basically every single time for the next 10 quest playthroughs. It will automatically repeat the quest for you. And as you can see, the quest will now repeat. It goes in and it does it again. And this is where you can be hands-off for about the next 10 playthroughs, which if you're doing 6-minute clears, it's going to be about an hour before you need to actually check on this again. But like I said, clear times can vary. If your characters are strong enough, you can even go farm the beast horns from different missions that are in proud difficulty. And ultimately, these should all be clearable on autoplay with 3 AI that are built and your 1 character that never dies. You can even kill Proto Bahamut. Proto Bahamut takes a ton of investment to AFK, but with the right characters, it is possible. I will have plenty of silly character guides coming out, but I do want this channel to not be as serious as my main channel, mostly because everything I post on that channel is like super high quality and effort, and honestly, I need a break and just want to vibe and play my favorite games. So, if you enjoyed this video, and if you want more helpful Granblue Fantasy relink videos, make sure to like, subscribe, etc. And turn on notifications if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I'm going to be talking about Lucilius, all of his drops, etc. pretty soon. So, thanks for watching, gamers, and I'll catch you next time.